Okay, we'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. First, we'll talk about the approval of minutes for June 26th. Have you all had a chance to review the minutes?
I have a copy of it.
Motion to accept June 2025 minutes.
Okay, you want a second? Second. All right, minutes are approved. Old business, Driftwood project.
All right, so just to give everybody an update, I spoke with Fleetwood Bradshaw. She had spoken with Gibbs McDowell, what we spoke about at our last meeting. We let them know that there was an option as long as it was free for Palms of the Parkway to transplant a palm tree. When having that conversation, it was my understanding that they would like to just move forward with cutting out the portion of art from the palm tree and preserving it for a memorial. So our next steps are we're going to be contacting USCB to see if we can partner with some of the local artists at the school and see if they can help preserve it and kind of collaborate with them moving forward. So moving forward, we'll have to transition to obviously working with USCB, finding a location. They did provide me material to what they would think a memorial would be for him. So at our next meeting, I will be presenting that so that everybody can look at it once we kind of figure out who from USCB would help us.
Who presented the material?
It was.
Fleetwood
yeah.
and Gibbs.
Yes. So they presented the material, they put things together of how they thought a memorial would go together. Just brainstorming some ideas to help us out what they're thinking moving forward. So that would be our next step, is to get in touch with USCB, whether if somebody from the committee wants to, or if you want us to reach out, see if there's somebody that we can partner with. I do have a connection with the school with my mother-in-law, so if you want to, we can reach out that way. If it's something you guys want to do, I'm absolutely fine with that. But those will probably be the next steps. Just getting in contact with that, figuring out how we can put it out, best preserve it, where we can then select the memorial. They did state that they prefer it being somewhere where the tree died is down.
Tree walk.
The tree walk, yes.
Starting on Craven Street.
Yes.
And there are some places in those flower beds, you know, that are empty and probably could have something like that.
Yeah, that was their idea. They wanted foot traffic and, you know, people obviously downtown is extremely busy, so they want more visibility. They said south side, outside of people in the playground and the dog park, it may get missed. You know, there may not be a lot of people actually really paying attention to it, other than when we do our city events that would go there. But that'd be very few and far between. So they really want to try to see if we can get it somewhere with the tree.
You know, we were talking about doing a plaque, and did they come up with the verbiage that they would prefer to use? Was it a lot of verbiage?
So there was a couple of articles that were in the presentation of what they thought would be a good memorialization of it. So there was stuff that we could use. There was pictures and writings that they thought that they would want to write up for them. It's kind of like a little bit of everything that they presented to us that one day, but it doesn't mean that we can't condense it down to something a little bit more uniform while still capturing the idea of what they want.
Okay.
But that's why I think, one, figuring out how we can preserve it, if USCB would assist with that, and then finding a location would be the next thing. So maybe we do some homework on the tree walk and see what parks are there and which locations make most sense.
Okay.
Sound good, everybody? Anybody have any questions?
No? Okay, very good. Moving on to Ptac responsibility changes.
So I am gonna contact Isaiah for him to send over the email of the finalized recommendations. So that way Nate can then send it to the city manager for approval. And once that's approved, we're hoping that we can get them on the August agenda for work session. After that, it would then probably go to September for it to be voted on, as long as there's no changes or recommendations from city council or the city manager. And I believe Isaiah is still the one that's going to represent Ptac. So that's something we'll just need for him as soon as possible, so I'll get with him afterwards, but just letting you know that that process.
Okay, Ptac, review of chapter 5 in the ordinance. Have you all, did you have a chance to read the email I sent you with the attachments?
I do.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have any comments to make on that? It's pretty self-explanatory.
You can unmute the mic. This one might not be working.
There was one more attachment. It had a lot of colors.
Yes.
That was the old one, right?
That's where it shows.
Here's the these few revisions. I read the revisions and then I'm like, oh, what is
I
this?
think
You
it's
know,
like almost 30 pages.
Yeah, I mean, this is it right here.
Okay. At least it's color coded.
Mhm.
I just wrote it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there we go. We got you now.
There we go. All right. Sorry, a little technical difficulties because I'm kind of mobile right now. One of the things that I was going over everything that in chapter 5, I was interested in possibly discussing increasing the DBH minimums from 6 inches, the 6 inches per DBH for the undisturbed around trees to most arbor associations and foundations and research indicates that it actually should be 1.5 feet instead of 6 inches. So I wanted to put forward and ask if that would be something the rest of the committee would be interested in changing or making a recommendation to City Council that we instead go from 6 inches as the DBH standard to 1.5 feet.
What section of chapter 5 is that?
Sorry, I'm trying to do this while we're.
2, it says less than 8 inches.
That's a big difference.
I2 and I4 and list the DPH, like live oaks have a 12-inch. Landmark trees are 24-inch, and I'm guessing just specimen trees are less than 8 inches.
Wanted to put maybe. Let's make that.
All of
1.5
them?
feet.
18 inches?
Are we talking about, is this what you're talking about, key changes?
Well, in this, I know he's talking about this, but
Yeah,
they're for different, like specimen trees, landmark trees.
sure. 12 and 24.
My understanding, he wants 18 inches for all trees?
Yeah, Michael, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. So essentially what it is it's the tree protection zone, the TPZ, and the critical root zone that factors in, that essentially says that currently in the code for the TPZ standards, it's 6 inches DBH.
What part of the code, what part of chapter 5 is that? 5,
Let me take a look here.
Okay, maybe he's talking right here. 5-4.
or here. The buffer.
Well, I'm looking at tree removal.
5-4.
Right here. See, that, the TPC, yes, and this is 6 inches.
So it should be the sections 5.11.9 and the 5.11.100, Chapter 5, Division 11. It's not tree protection zone per se, explicitly in our code, but it's talking about but essentially the area that can't be disturbed around trees.
The tree removal zone, TPZ,
Yeah,
okay, and your thought is what?
increasing it from 6 inches to 1.5.
Well, I don't see, it doesn't look
It's
like
probably-
5.11 is on this handout.
Let's see if I can pull it up.
But, got 5.8, but not 5.11.
Do you know what's addressed in the ordinance? Here's, under this section of tree root protection zone, TPC requirements. Where this is addressed.
I thought didn't he say 5.11?
That's what I heard. Trying to look it up, I don't know.
So this is to help protect trees more or less?
I was looking for 5.11, I wasn't sure there was a 5.
I don't even see that, the last thing that they said was 5.8 on the fence.
Yeah, I think it's all there. Michael, we don't see a 5.11.
Actually, I'm sorry, I think it's 5.3. Can you guys hear me?
5.3, you said?
Yeah, it's
Five-
when
five-
talking about the specifics for safeguarding the area around trees during construction.
Right, the TPC zone, 5.3.3,
Yes,
okay,
it's currently 1/2 foot per 1 inch of trunk.
of the DBH, right?
Yeah, and I think it should be most, from what I've been able to tell, most other, like the Sullivan's Island and a couple other coastal communities, they've actually increased that from 6 inches, they're the 1/2 foot, to 1.5 feet when it comes to these construction, when it comes to construction to preserve these trees.
6 inches to 18 inches per,
1 inch.
per inch of tree. The,
Yes, correct.
per diameter.
Yeah, because what it allows the trees, the larger trees, to have a better chance of not having root dieback when they come in, and there's what was it? I think it was the Sullivan's Island had a whole thing where it said that when they do if there is going to be kind of any kind of construction within that zone, it has to be a certain percentage. It can't go over that. But basically, the idea is to protect the heritage trees as much as possible and give them as much of a fighting chance with their root structure to prevent them from having root die back over the years and eventually lose the tree.
Because most damage to a tree from construction actually isn't quite visible, usually even within the first year from construction. Sometimes it's years down the road that you actually see the damage results from construction.
Yeah, it's a lot of compression of vehicles and stuff going over the root systems. I am not in disagreement of that. What do y'all think of that?
I'm just saying, what are you saying?
For protecting trees.
I'm for protecting trees, that's right.
I think they're not coming down here complaining, the people who cut down the trees, if they're not coming down here complaining, we need to go stricter, that's what I think. So
I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a, viable idea, but I think that if you're a developer, you're gonna get major pushback.
Yeah.
18 inches, a foot and a half, if you have a 24-inch caliber tree, I mean, do the math, that's.
We're here to make recommendations and we're here to
Okay.
save trees.
Is there a motion to make a recommendation to increase size from 6 inches to 18 inches?
Motion.
Okay, second. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you for the recommendation. We'll move forward with that and present that to.
You might get a compromise out of it.
Yeah, seriously.
Shoot, I can cut in the middle.
All right, so do you present this to them?
It wouldn't be us, I believe.
Who does this go to from here?
I can talk with Nate. I'm sure that these would maybe go back to Herfries from community development. And then they would bring the revisions to their team and then possibly considering that. But I'd have to double check with Nate.
Goes to Kurt, because he was working with the council.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Nothing currently.
Okay. And we'll move on. New business, public comment,
Anybody have anything they'd like to bring up?
yeah, anything else you guys want to bring up?
Since we've determined that the Liberty tree that we were gifted is in fact a tulip poplar, do we have final confirmation on its final location going in Southside Park?
So they are discussing right now, I believe my director is gonna meet with the city manager. He has a few locations in mind and he wanted to see which direction the city manager and I guess council thought would be the best location for it. Because we do want it in a location, obviously, where it's away from the main thoroughfares. It's mainly just foot traffic because it has to be protected, especially the young sapling. Yeah, so where it can thrive. No definitive location has been determined yet, but those conversations are ongoing right now.
All right,
So
sounds good.
if it has recommendations. You can give recommendations of where we want.
I think there's limitations in our other parks as we've discussed.
Yeah.
Because there's current overstory there.
Yeah.
So that's,
Not only that, tulip poplars don't do well with salt water or salt in general.
that's gotta go away from.
Yeah.
others.
Bluffs, no.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so currently, the plan is to look at Southside Park, and they've got some great wine spaces.
But that's the thing right now, it's easier now too, because it's still in development. So they're still coming up with a design for phase two. So it would be easier to implement something like that now while that's ongoing. But also trying to determine some other backup locations if Southside Park wasn't deemed fit for it.
It's too bad that there's not room for it on the city walk, on the tree walk down the old point.
Yeah.
It's a feature, but just a lot of overstories. Yes.
I mean, that's how old downtown is Live Oaks and Water Oaks.
Okay, anything else?
The community garden, is that dead in water?
No, so the recommendations, I believe. We're gonna submit the recommendations to Nate, and then Nate will send them to the city manager. As we wrote them down, and I will send it out to you guys first and confirm that. Everything on there was what we recommended, because we had our pros and cons, so I think we'll do it kind of like that.
I was riding in Charleston on Magnolia Drive, you know, where the triangle is between 61 and 17. Have a community. It was pretty cool, but it is fenced in. Magnolia.
Oh, I know where it is, right, yeah, it used to be real rural in that direction, when they're building like crazy.
Well, I know there's a couple of schools that have approached me and they are interested in having a community garden at Southside.
The
So,
schools,
yes,
nice.
so there's a couple of them that want to use it for educational purposes. So that's a possibility moving forward. I know that we talked about having some of it being educational, if it was going to move in more of a traditional ornamental bed versus the home garden with your vegetables stock, but that's something that we'll get to you guys can confirm, because it was already approved and voted on. I just want to make sure that everything that we talk about is in there. Send it link, and then that will be sent to the city manager.
I had heard a conversation a couple of years ago. Two guys were from the same area in Illinois. I couldn't tell you the name of the small towns to save my life, but they were talking back and forth because they were from the same area. They had just met each other, and one of the guys said that one of the one town chose not to grow. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And then is that the truth? And then so I actually asked them for the town because I forgot the name of it. So then I Googled the town. I had my curiosity. So, you know, growth and development's a hot topic. And of course, I forgot the town again. So I didn't discover anything by Googling what he was talking about. Maybe I should call him up and ask him, but it's in another state. So some of these number of buildings going up on, you know, one piece of land. It looks out of place. I think the planning commission put in hours and hours and hours dissecting that. So if they good with everything, I'm not saying we should do anything. I'm just, you know, we just got done doing the trees with Mike's suggestion, and the one comes to mind is that one called Point Grand. So that's 14 buildings unless they changed it, but they sprouting up. And if I lived next to that, I mean, I wouldn't want to be living there. And some of those people are probably moving, I don't know, but that's just 14 buildings would be like the size of the land similar to Southside Park. I don't know how you stop that. I mean, the planning commission probably looked at everything from every which way, so, yeah.
Sorry. Developmental codes and everything have to be hand in hand. All entities have to be hand in hand working for a common vision. Sometimes in certain places it's hard to get everybody on the same page. But there's a lot of work and detail that goes into that. I know our planning department's worked hard on trying to make it a little bit stricter, especially when it comes to tree care and landscaping. to help us out. So I know that, but like I said, everything's got to align for everything to be cohesive with each other.
Yeah, and it is much appreciated. You know, you've got developers that come in here and they just want to come in and clear cut because that's the cheapest direction that they can have to, you know, do their projects. Then just start from scratch and start with 2.5 caliber trees. Taking down these massive oaks, so.
Well, isn't part of that, like in the first line here, where it talks about the sustainable tree canopy? Well, how do we even know what the tree canopy is? We don't have one of those massive tree survey things done.
Well, actually, after a year and a half of emailing them, they responded back to me finally.
Yeah.
So it was last Friday or Thursday. I emailed them back and said that we would like pricing, what grants were available to assist with the budget. And so they're working on right now, trying to get me some pricing depending on which direction we try to go. So it took a year and a half, but they finally responded back. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so, we'll have some information to at least look at it and see the ballpark of what it would cost and what the scope of work would be. But it is not a small task.
Not a small task, and I suspect it's gonna be extremely expensive.
Yes.
I just want to do that.
But then I see like what happened over at Lowe's and I'm like aghast.
I know, everybody who sees that is aghast.
They do, the Beaufort County does have, of course, they haven't completed a whole bunch of pathways that they have planned, but they do have a pathway on the east side of that road, Burton Hill Road, which is the same side as Point Grand. They got the pathway planned going from Old Salem to, actually it goes from Old Salem all the way up to past Public Works.
My property.
It's called Broad River Boulevard. Yeah, that's right. On the east side of the road. That's kind of interesting. That would help with transportation and exercise.
I mean, it's like a greenway path.
Oh, no, they're gonna pave it. Well, yeah, I guess you could call, whatever you wanna call it, it's a paved path, I'm sure. It's not.
Not right beside the road, not right.
It's probably in the right of way. It's in the east side of the road. Same side as Point Grand.
So Burton Wells is not in the city limits though, right? Burton Wells,
No, Burton Wells.
that's county, right?
No, I said Burton Hill Road.
Yeah,
or
Burton Hill.
That's the road where Public Works is located.
Lowe's sits on Burton Hill
Oh,
Road.
right, okay,
The side.
Broad River and,
right.
It's down by the tire plant.
that's where we had.
Try to.
I've dropped a few banners off again.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to jump off now.
All right, thank you for attending, Michael.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, appreciate it. See you guys soon.
Right. And we're, you know, that's all we have.
I'm gonna throw this out here for y'all to all shoot down, but any chance that we could meet at 3:15 instead of 3 o'clock? I can make 3 o'clock work, but that's when my school lets out. And
Dash.
I mean, I'm not far. And it may be just, I show up a little bit late, but,
I don't have a problem with
I'd
that.
have to talk with Tracy
By the way,
and see if there's any
conflict.
conflicts or reasons why it has to be exactly.
And I totally get it if that's the case, because it's once a month and I can make allowances, but I thought I would ask.
No, I'll definitely look into it. I'll talk to Tracy about that.
okay.
You never know, they moved us into a bigger conference room. So
It's a big crowd.
maybe we'll get a sneaky
Graduated.
machine next. But I'll write that down and I'll talk to Tracy.
Okay, that it? Right, meeting is adjourned.